Welcome to today's lecture. The topic is Transport and Welfare of Food Animals 2 on India and Global Perspective. In the first lecture of this topic, that was exclusively for UG and also for PG students, I have discussed about the basic aspects of transportation and its effect and the basic aspects of animal welfare. Today I am going to talk in more details in some of the recent new policy and rules about the transportation in India and related specifications for it with certain tables. Then more details about the effect of transportation on animals with certain research reports. After that, what are the need for details animal welfare and how to improve the animal welfare I am going to discuss, and further some details about the global scenario and perspectives on animal welfare. So this lecture is more focused on animal welfare and it is exclusively for the postgraduate students. Recent transport rules in India. This I have already mentioned in the previous lecture. Government of India has accepted the rules for transportation of livestock as per BIS, that is IS 14904 2007. This is a new development in 2014. Till now this code was voluntary and after the Union government's approval it becomes mandatory. This code in general was intended as guide and educational tool in promoting animal transportation and welfare practices in the country. So here are so many details, specification about the vehicles, about the space, about the size of vehicles, which I am going to explain in several tables briefly. Here in table 1, you can see the space allowance per cattle in railway wagon. For cattle up to 200 kg 1 square meter, 200 to 300 kg 1.2 square meter, cattle weighing 300 to 400 kg 1.4 square meter, and above 400 kg 2 square meter. This is the space requirement for transportation of large animals through railway wagon. Here this table 2 is showing the space requirement for cattle in common road vehicles. It is showing the size of the vehicle, then the floor area in square meter and the number of cattle that can be put in each vehicle depending on the body weight. That is, first one is 200 kg, then 300, then 400 and above 400. And it is showing the size, space required for each category. So in a big vehicle like 6.9 into 2.4 meter, which will have a space of 16.56 square meter, can have 16 cattle in small size, and then 300 kg 14 numbers, up to 400 kg 12 numbers, and above 400 kg 8 numbers. So this is how it is specifying in the new regulations for animal transport the how many number of animals can be taken in a particular size of vehicle. This table 3 is showing the space requirement by rail or road trucks in case of sheep and goat. Here the animals are classified in below 20 kg weight, then 20 to 25, 26 to 30, 31 to 40 and more than 40 kg. And the animals in case of sheep, it is in two category, with wool and another is shorn, that is after shearing of wool. And this is showing the space required in square meter. So if it is below 20 kg, in case of wooled animal it is 0.17 meter square, and in case of shorn it is 0.16 square meter. So these are the detailed space recommended in the new transport regulations for different category of sheep and goat. This table 4 is showing the number of pigs permitted for common road vehicle. So in this table we can see there is three category of animals: weaner, young and adult, and four kind of vehicles as per their size, and each different size of vehicle how many of the animals of different category can be put. So in first category, winner in the big vehicle 43, in the second category it is 37, in the next category type of vehicle 22, and the smallest size it is 19. Like that, for different category of animals and different vehicle, number of animals to be put is given here. This table 5 is showing the rail distances and heights for different species as per FAO, that is the partition height and the gap between the rails. In case of cattle, that is 20 centimeter is the gap between the rails and the height 1.5 meter. In sheep goat 15 centimeter and 0.9 meter height. In case of pigs 15 centimeter and 0.9 meter, and in ostriches 20 centimeter and 1.5 meter. This table 6 is showing the maximum distances for trekking as per FAO, that is the distance to be traveled by walking in case of species cattle and sheep and goat, and in case of one day journey it could be 30 km in cattle and 24 km in sheep and goats. But if it is more than one day, then first day 24 km, next day 22 kilometers. In case of sheep and goat, first day 24 km and next day 16 km. Here is the effect of transportation. In the first lecture, I have already discussed about the effect of transportation on the food animals. There we have seen the effect on weight loss and the effect of injuries and also leading to death. So here a list of other conditions or health effects due to the transportation, like trampling, suffocation due to no space or no ventilation, heart failure again due to heat or other reasons. There could be heat stroke or sunburn, bloat again due to improper exercise or other space. There could be dehydration due to improper water available. There will be exhaustion due to long journey and no rest and exercise or feeding, and there could be fighting leading to a lot of injuries and other stress. So different effect of transportation, as we have discussed in the previous lecture, it causes bruises, torn skin and broken skin. So these instances particularly high in sheep and pigs. In pigs, muscular bleeding is very common. Then we will discuss more on the death. A lot of death happen due to transportation, improper management and care. So these are maybe due to during long transportation, or sheep and pigs are more susceptible. Animals of different size and age without partition may lead to this condition, that is mixing of animals of different size or of different species. And in sheep and goat, death may happen in sheep transport, that is the sea route, particularly due to inflammatory diarrhea or pasteurellosis or sheeping fever, etc., as I mentioned earlier also. This particular slide is showing the effect of distance on weight losses in pigs. It is based on a research report by Machado et al. 2016. So here they have studied the transport of 300 pigs and collected the data from that and analyzed it by ANOVA. The salient observations of this report is that transportation from farm to slaughterhouses cause dehydration. The live weight loss estimated at 12%, that's huge, and it increased gradually as the distance increased, and most cost effective distance was 100 km. So this study shows up to 100 km it is best. Beyond that, the loss in terms of economics is more. Here is another research study which reports the skin injuries in 560 buffaloes by Gregory 2008. Here it shows the different kind of skin injuries and their percent. The abrasion 73.2%, scar 49.8%, laceration 40.9%, swelling 8.4%, penetration 3.8%, bleeding 2.9%, and ulceration 1.3%. So far we have discussed certain aspects related to transportation, but now we are going to focus more on animal welfare. So animal welfare, what needs to be done? A campaign is needed to apprise people about cruelty which occurs during transport and slaughter. The creation of animal welfare legislation, including animal transport and slaughter according to the OIE standards. And number 3, government officials in charge of livestock at abattoirs should be sensitized to the concepts of animal welfare. Animal welfare, what needs to be done? Number 4, abattoirs should be equipped with the facilities required for the good application of animal welfare standards, including unloading facilities, slaughtering boxes, and well-trained personnel. Number 5, the OIE animal welfare standards, especially those dealing with transport and slaughter of animals, adopted in 2005 by OIE members, need to be more strictly implemented by governments. Number 6, the inclusion of animal welfare as a subject in the veterinary curriculum with a model syllabus should be encouraged. Actually, that is how we are teaching this topic in more details, especially in UG students, and also in further details for the postgraduate students. OIE welcomes the opportunity to enter into dialogue with governments and religious authorities with the objective of improving animal welfare in all countries of the world. Now we will see animal welfare, how to improve. So it has got several aspects. The first is welfare inputs, in which it has got the importance of stock person, that leads to preparation and handling and loading. Then the next is handling facilities, and the other one is design of vehicle. Then there is the driver, which has a relevance to road conditions, weather and temperature. And the other aspect is incentives and penalties, which could be in economic and legal terms or by audits. Now we will see animal welfare through stock person. So one is the preparation, that is training the lead animal, colostrum for calves, vaccination, and hay for cattle who have been on pasture. Then the handling aspect, habituate animals to handlers, use flight zone, point of balance. So this is a behavioral aspect which I have discussed in details in the last lecture. Then use of goads and sticks for moving the animals, and prohibited practices, that is not throwing, etc. So these are the aspects which should be taken care of as far as the stock person is concerned. Now it is about handling facilities. The first thing is to minimize the fear. So the design around species, sight, hearing, group behavior, all these aspects should be taken care of while designing the handling facilities. Move down carved walkways. So animals should be taken downwards in the walkways in a carved manner, not round corners, no light, dark contrasts and other distractions. So these aspects should be taken care of to minimize the fear. Non-slip floors, that is scored concrete, rubber mats. Animals may have sore feet, that is pigs on slats or dairy cows, weak muscles or joints, that is old cows, large beef animals and pigs. So this has to be taken care of about the slipping of the floors. Now some specific points related to vehicle design for better animal welfare. Absorbent floor litter or other means of removing urine and feces. Floor of adequate strength, sufficient space and headroom. Adequate ventilation and light should be there. Easy to clean and escape proof, no sharp edges or protrusions, suitable ramp and loading angle. So these are the aspects which should be taken care of for the design of vehicle which will be used for transportation of animals. Driver responsibilities in animal welfare. As we have discussed earlier briefly about it in the previous lecture. So here it is two aspects. One is the driver should understand the legal and technical requirements, and another is to understand the species of animals and their behavior and requirements. So in the first part, vehicle construction and welfare law, they should be aware. Loading, operate and control the vehicle. In this aspect, they should know the legal requirements and specifications. Effect of climate, temperature and humidity, ventilation adjustment, vehicle cleaning and disinfection. And about the species, they should know the behavior and requirements about the time, stops, space, rest, etc. Signs of stress and ill health, and restrictions on transporting the casualties. These are the aspects of different species of animal the driver should be aware of. Incentives and penalties, the audits. So there should be proper auditing for checking the animal welfare situation, and the suitable action should be there. So this is the measures of welfare on farm and during transport. So some of the indicators are like, we can check all these measurements, that is percent of lame animals, percent of thin animals, percent of dirty animals, percent of animals with sores, bruises or lesions, percent of death before slaughter, percent of morbidity, that is illness or injury, and percent of birds with broken wings and legs. So these figures gives an idea about the welfare situation. Accordingly, the incentives or penalties can be given. So this is a kind of audit which should be implemented for enforcing proper animal welfare during transportation and before slaughter. Now, audits versus legislation, that is, which one is better? Either we should go by auditing and acting accordingly, or we should go as per the law and take the action accordingly. So it appears audits by retailers more effective than legal enforcement. The examples like prohibited practices, we can identify such practices and act accordingly. Dropping of animals or throwing of animals, crushing or breaking tails, pulling them by the ears, lifting or dragging by body parts like tail, head, horns, ears, limbs, wool, hair or feathers. So these kind of prohibited practices can be checked, and accordingly we can take the action instead of going for legal enforcement. Animals unfit for transport. There are certain specific recommendation by OIE in 2011. As I told, just before starting the transportation, all animals need to be inspected by veterinarian, and also they should be inspected after reaching the destination during unloading. So some of the important specifications recommended are the sick, injured, weak, disabled or fatigued animals, those unable to stand and bear weight on each leg, those that are blind in both eyes, those that cannot be moved without causing them additional suffering, newborns with an unhealed navel, animals at advanced stage of pregnancy, females traveling without young who have given birth within 48 hours, those would be in poor welfare because of the expected climatic conditions. Animals at risk for transportation, some of the such conditions are like the very large or obese, the very young or very old, those who are excitable or aggressive, animals who get motion sickness, particularly in pigs, animals who are unused to humans, females in the last third of pregnancy, females in heavy lactation, and called or spined animals. So these are the animals which are at risk for transportation. Now we will see the global scenario on different aspects of animal welfare. So here is global perception of animal welfare. Perceptions of animal welfare vary between and within countries. That is, rich versus poor people, urban versus rural areas. So this perception depends on the culture and other different aspects. Citizens and governments are not always aware of animal welfare issues. Religious and cultural views play a major role in animal welfare perceptions, especially in how animals are treated and slaughtered. Global perceptions seem to follow the way it evolved in Europe. Here again we will see other perspective and perception related to animal welfare. There was an FAO expert meeting on capacity building to implement good animal welfare practices in 2008. Some of the observations are like the treatment of animals is influenced by beliefs and values which vary from culture to culture regarding the nature of animals and their moral significance. Further, it recommends, although animal welfare problems are extremely diverse, several problems stand out as high priority across many regions. These are transportation, slaughter, including pre-slaughter management, handling, and herding methods. Here is some globally recognized guiding principles from OIE. OIE is Office International Epizootics, that is equivalent to World Animal Health Organization. So some of the guiding principles are like critical relationship between animal health and animal welfare, recognition of the 5 freedoms which I have explained in the previous lecture, the use of animals in agriculture and science and for companionship makes a major contribution to the well-being of people. The use of animals carries with it an ethical responsibility. Improvements in farm animal welfare can often improve productivity and food safety. Equivalent outcomes rather than identical systems are the basis for comparison of animal welfare standards. Working towards international awareness on animal welfare. So here are some of the important observations of the Executive Committee. Executive Committee submission to WTO on animal welfare and agricultural trade and mandatory labeling for agricultural products, incorporation of animal welfare into agreements and cooperation forums with EC trading partners, Chile and Canada 2004 and 5, EC New Zealand and EC Australia 2007 and 2008, multilateral animal welfare standards as per OIE, teaching animal welfare on common scientific basis to profit of synergies and ensure that teaching of law and ethics is considered as important constituent of professional development for veterinarians, supporting further international science for everyday use and scientific partnerships, the links between animal health and animal welfare, better training for safer food initiative, cooperation between OIE, FAO, World Bank and WHO. Working towards international awareness on animal welfare, the continuation of the previous one, the business opportunities through improved animal welfare. There is a better business opportunity when there is improved animal welfare. International Finance Corporation, that is World Bank Group, preparation of a good practice note, creating business opportunity through improved animal welfare. Good standards of animal welfare are considered as a prerequisite for sustainable agricultural production, which create opportunities for trade worldwide. Raising knowledge on animal welfare creates opportunities for trade within the EU and worldwide. Animal welfare a possible contribution to sustainable development. Conference on Global Trade and Farm Animal Welfare. This was in 2009 January. Some of the precise observations: facilitate the adoption of higher animal welfare standards while considering the regional and local dimensions. Outcome-based approach in definition of standards for farm animal welfare and transparent comparisons between farming practices. Identifying ways to address animal welfare in WTO and facilitate trade in higher welfare products. Cooperation between international organizations, that is OIE, FAO, World Bank and EU, and global stakeholders including NGOs and farmers. So these are the observations precisely and briefly from this conference. Sustainable production towards a new thinking of farming. Human-animal relationship values associated with food demand and consumers' expectation. Opportunity for a transparent information from farmers to consumers. International partnership and collaboration between farmers, veterinarians and international organizations backed up by science. So these are some of the thinking towards the sustainable production which should consider the animal welfare also. Now we are almost at the end. I will summarize mostly the animal welfare aspect, the common problems, design of handling facilities and vehicle, rough handling injuries, long journeys on bad roads, inappropriate vehicles and mixing of animal. The primary solutions: educating handlers, auditing and providing financial incentives and penalties to handlers, drivers and farmers, limiting journey times and improving vehicle design. Finally, the conclusions: sound animal welfare practices during transportation and slaughter reduce stress levels in animals and it also improves the quantity and quality of meat. Animal welfare depends on to a large extent on the staff handling animals. Training to the staff in human handling of animals during transport and slaughter is of paramount importance to ensure effective animal welfare. In India, we are far behind regarding animal welfare measures, particularly at transport section and at abattoir, which need to be improved many folds. So this is the end of today's lecture. You can further study details in the study materials given and the lecture notes. Thank you.